Bienvenidos to another episode of Gracias Come Again. I'm excited. Today I'm talking to Tony-nominated SAG winner Elizabeth Rodriguez. Welcome.
Hello, hello. I'm so happy to be here.
You look beautiful today.
Thank you. So do you, girl.
How you feeling? Are you hot?
Estoy. Summer's here.
It is a hot, humid day in New York, right?
Humid day in New York.
The curls are still popping.
Thank you.
No worries. No worries.
Another block and I would have been like, ah.
Why are you acting like you're not born and raised New York, girl? Over here going the wrong way on the avenues.
I know, girl. Because, sometimes it's always
Se te
the
olvida.
reminder
Se te olvida, right?
of like, if you're stressing and you don't ground yourself, you forget yourself.
All of a sudden, you look up and you're like,
how did I get to...
why am I in Riverside? I'm supposed to be on 2nd Avenue.
Jersey City.
Broadway star.
Yes.
Actor.
Kind of.
Advocate?
A little bit.
A lot.
All of it.
I feel like you're all up in that when it comes to, advocacy, equity, representation for Latinos. And it's crazy that it's 2025 and we're still having this discussion.
Ma'am, ridiculous. Imagínate.
Do you sometimes feel like this is a problem that's never going to get solved?
Well, I didn't even think it would be. I would never have imagined that I'd wake up in 2025 and be like, is this really what the world is? We're talking about women issues and rights and, other issues and brown and, trans,
right?
all the issues. This today, I'm like, it's a little bit of a nightmare.
When you think back and you're like, our abuelitas and our moms were out here,
Correct.
Fighting
and
for the same things.
Lives, and you're like, what? Who? Where's? How? I didn't know there was that much crazy, but clearly there is.
Let's talk Tony nominations.
Let's.
Like, how amazing was that?
I know, and the Tonys were announced yesterday. I had a lot of nostalgia.
Buena Vista Social Club.
I know.
10 nominations.
I know. And I just happened to see Real Women have curves just a day before the nominations. And I've known Justina for a million years. And
I'm so happy for her.
I know, me too. I wish the young lady that played her daughter would have been nominated because she was pretty amazing too. But here we are.
But we'll take it. We can't win them all.
Of it.
Listen, when I saw, Real Women Have Curves and Buena Vista Social Club, I was like, it's kind of like happening a little bit.
Yeah, that's how I felt like when In the Heights and West Side Story were coming out the same year. I was like, I was shooting in Brooklyn. I was shooting Power, and they were shooting West Side Story in one of the studios, and it took I wanted to climb inside, and I remember being so full of joy, this is happening. Next year, these both will be out at the same time.
In the Heights was amazing. I remember when that was happening. I was like, wow. And the production was just so big. And we were so represented. And I like the way we were represented. some people, have little, no había suficiente, what was it?
Brown.
It was brown, yeah. Black and brown was not represented.
Afro-Caribbean.
There you go. I remember it was something.
It became this whole thing because that's how we do it. We like to divide.
No. Mira, si no hacen una película, señores, yo entiendo, representation matters, pero... let's support it. Let's not tear it down. Let's not make it a big issue where,
don't make it public.
And it overshadows
of course
what was done, and
absolutely.
We have Lin-Manuel Miranda, Anthony Ramos, Dasha Polanco, a lot of us
Daphne.
Daphne, Rubin-Vega, my homegirl. I love her.
I know.
She is amazing. Her voice is everything.
I know. She's like, hey, so... She's amazing. I love her so much.
I absolutely love her. And I love you. You're a Capricorn, right?
Maybe. Right? So I also want to point out that Daphne Rubin-Vega was in my movie that I wrote and co-wrote, produced, Allswell in New York.
Oh, we're going to talk about it.
Okay, I needed to because we talked about Daphne and also, I was going to say something. Oh, and when we were talking about theater, I'm also an Obie winner.
Oh, listen. All the accolades matter,
I need
okay?
to throw that in because, bien caripela.
No, claro que sí. Dame todos mis accolades. Me fallaron ahí.
Pero the Obie. Because that happened while I was in, we were in COVID and it was so surreal. Me and Liza Colón-Zayas both won for this play because it was off Broadway called, can we curse on this?
Claro que sí.
Oh, it's called Halfway Bitches Go Straight to Heaven. And it was done off Broadway and we won this and it was surreal because you're stuck in this world and you're doing a Zoom to be like, oh, hey, thank you. Very, very surreal.
But it happened.
It did.
In the Heights happened during COVID too, like the release.
Right.
A lot happened, but we took it in and, we just adjusted. I hope that never happens again. Like how insane.
I'm still adjusting. De verdad. I'm like, sometimes when I see people with masks on still, I'm like, oh yeah,
you're like,
should I have a mask on?
¿Qué está pasando, right?
Or if someone I know gets COVID, I'm like, oh my God, I can't get COVID.
It's insane that people are still getting COVID, but the beauty of it is that people aren't dying the way that they were.
Oh my God, absolutely.
I don't want to get dark. I don't want to get dark.
No. We're here to celebrate Friday night.
Listen, un viernes en la noche.
Shout
out to you for pulling up, man.
Thank you, mommy.
Because it's important, that I sit down with people, like, that aren't just newcomers, but people who have paved the way. Like, I feel like with acting and, with the Labyrinth Theater and, what you guys all have going on, it's like, it makes me so proud and it gives me the hope of like, wow, if we stick together, we can continue to grow because I feel like we are the Latin majority, but others don't, but we're changing that perception.
Yeah. And all we can do is show up because it's always in hindsight, right? Where you're like, oh, I was part of this thing and this thing has become this thing individually and communitively. Because we just doing our thing and finding your people and all of a sudden you look back and you reflect and it becomes a thing. Or like so many people in their own journey grow and create and get to these heights where you're like, wow. And it becomes part of like your history, your like your fabric, your fiber. You know what I'm saying? When there's so many people in the Labyrinth Theater, John Ortiz, Raul Castillo, Liza, and these are like David Zayas, Daphne, obviously. These people, Judy Reyes, Ann Ortiz, these people are like genuine people that I love and like I've known for so long, and time goes by so fast where you're just like, if you ever work with them, it's so different because there's already like a deep love and respect that goes beyond their work. And it's like, their family, so your joy for them is on another level as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you feel it. You're like, yo, that's my bro. Ese como mi comay. You know what I'm saying? Like, when they win those awards, you're clapping extra hard.
Yeah.
We met at Latinas Acting Up.
Yes.
How dope was that event?
I know.
I was looking around. I was like, imagine all of us together pushing one project.
I know.
It's out of here.
I know.
Can't nobody stop us.
No. It was really great. And I mean, I saw women there that I hadn't seen in decades. That like, it's bizarre also because I was meeting new women like yourself, but also like, you're like, oh, you see these women and it's a bit timeless. You're just like, wah! And like, I'm taking pictures, sending them to people. They're like, oh my God, I can't.
But then that also brings me to like, we have to do these type of things. We have to get together. And it's like, even Dasha, after the event, she was like, I feel so good. Like her cup filled up. And I'm like, we tend to forget that we have such amazing women in our circle. And we're all busy living our own lives. Because, you're an actress, you're a director, you're a photographer. And we don't come together and realize
our power.
And the support that we have.
And that we need to give each other.
Claro que sí.
That's the biggest thing.
As soon as you have a project, you be like, honey, I got this project. What are we doing? I'm like, talk to me. Which radio station you need to come to? What magazine we putting this in? What website? Who do I need to talk to? And we fail. And sometimes as Latinos, we be like, ay, yo no quiero molestar la gente.
And also, I think for me, what happens is, like Lisa, also Liza, I've known forever. Like,
I love her energy.
Being part of that world and seeing people, she was like, hey, are you gonna be able to do this thing? Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I flew back the day before from LA to be there.
Oh, nice.
But also what was said was like, you can't just be like, oh, hey, promote me and then ghost and be out.
Reciprocate.
Absolutely. And I think that's the biggest thing. I find that as part of every bit of my world. Even with my girlfriends, like sometimes I'm like, if I'm not there to support them, like not even because life happens, it's not even on purpose. But I am so aware that I can't then be like, oh yeah, hey, what are you doing today? Can we hang? Like out of the blue. And it works on every level, personally and absolutely professionally. You just can't. You have to stay in the game and be a cheerleader if you want someone to cheer you back. It's just energy. It's a void. You can't just be like, hi, how about me? Whether it's women or men. I've had people show up out of nowhere and be like, hey, you want to come to my movie? I'm like, dude, I haven't heard from you in decades.
¿Cuándo fue la última vez que tú me llamaste?
Ven, estar muerta.
Pero ven acá. Alguien me pidió un favor a mí y hace 15 años que esa persona no me llama.
I block, delete, report.
Espérate. No, él le pidió el favor a mi hermana. Y digo, pero dile a ella que si ella hablara conmigo, ella supiera que yo tengo el mismo número hace 15 años.
Exactly.
Pero, when's the last
Yo puedo estar
time?
muerta.
Thank you.
I could have come back 3 times already.
I could have came back as Daphne already and lived my best life.
I could be a ghost you're talking to right now.
Yeah, no, but with me, it's like, it's big on like, what project do you have? You know, what's going on? What do we need to promote? You know, I first met James Martinez, and I was like, yo, what are we doing? And he told me he was doing the freestyle play. And after that, I was like, whatever you need.
That's amazing.
Do we need to put it up on KTU, our radio station that
right.
plays freestyle? Yeah. All right, no problem. So I got on them. I was like, listen, guys, please do an article for this. Please talk about this on the radio. Please put this on your Instagram. Please put this on your Twitter. And when I went, Judy Torres told me, she was like, yo, there was so much more movement after you got involved. But
Which also how amazing that she, being that she does it and it takes over, that she couldn't be like, yo, hello, hi, hello.
Well, sometimes when it's our project, we kind of like fall back and be like,
this is true.
They'll realize what it is.
Or we like feel a little like it's easier to promote somebody else's thing because we don't take it personal when they like reject us.
No, and that's a fact. And that's why
true.
Sometimes it takes somebody in your circle to be like, yo, did you not realize what she's doing?
Yeah.
I need this everywhere. I need this on the radio. I need this on the website. I need this on Instagram. And then there's movement, and then she feels supported, and then she's excited about it.
And then she could go run with it.
Yeah, no, 100%. And
I get it. I feel the same way. I've been at this, like I joked around and I'm like, you know, blowing my own horn. But the truth of the matter is,
as you should.
I don't. I can do it for everyone. And it's, you know, I think a lot of it is.
I guess I'm kind of like the same way.
I think it's embedded in us, right? It's sort of micro and macro in terms of like humility and learning the difference between humility and like finding the balance, because you can have humility and also be like, oh wait, I've also done this and this and this, and it was a long ride to get there. And it's really hard, right? Because I think also how you're raised, they're like, no puedes, or whatever, but like,
no seas comparona.
Right, but it's also like when anyone ever is like, hi, Elizabeth Rodriguez, and they read my
IMBND?
Yeah, anytime anyone's reading that or like doing a whole Elizabeth, and this, I swear, I'm like, this is bizarre because I never look at it, right?
Oh, when they do like your intro or something?
Yeah, an intro, I'm always like, is that me? That's so, like, it doesn't connect. I keep saying one day when I retire and I have all the time in the world, I'll do my own retrospective and I'll have the space to be able to be like, mira lo que hice. But there has to be a little bit of that as well, of like walking with that, right? Because for every accolade or accomplishment, there've been hundreds of rejections and heartaches and all the other things. And you don't have to work hard on feeling those. Those come through you so deep. And why is it that, you know, the accomplishments don't feel that deep, feel sort of out here, is a very bizarre thing for me to sort of like wrap my brain around. I'm still trying to understand and open up to it.
It's crazy that you say that, because I was a guest on a podcast and they were doing an intro, and the guy was going on and on and on and on and on and on about all these things I've done. And I'm like, can I get that? Can I take that?
You're like, who are they talking? Is that me?
I'm like, when did I do all this? Like, and I was just talking to my sister yesterday, and I was like, you know, because I'm not a big deal. And then she's like, well, this person seems to think you're a very big deal. Yeah. And I'm like, me? Okay.
Right.
I'll be at the house.
Yeah.
So
I hear you.
I feel you on that. But it also keeps you grounded, and it keeps you humble, because once people start feeling themselves and feeling super gassed, then they become intolerable. Like, no la tolero, ese tipo.
Yeah, and that's why. But I think there's a balance, right? Of like trying to find, which hopefully I'll find before I die, of like not making it about your ego, right? Mm-hmm. Because that's when you're like intolerable, when you're walking around because that's empty. That's some bullshit about like, am I like, please, like, I'm not impressed. People impress me, seeing them, knowing what they're all about, their values, blah, 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 blah. Having real conversations. But I think when people go into like, I can't even, because I can see right through that. And I think the balance is being able to know and own it, but not own it like wear it in your sleeves, but own it and walk with that too. Because sometimes you walk into spaces and you feel like you don't belong or whatever. We all have insecurities or whatever walking into. But like I think if we knew and we were able to connect to that a little bit, to be like just un poquito más derecha, right?
There is a disconnect. You know? I feel you because sometimes I walk into rooms where I was invited and where people are expecting me and I'm like, right. Why am I here? Do people know I'm here? Do people know who I am?
Pero también, I'm also like, when people are like, oh, I'm sorry, I never saw that. I'm like, it doesn't matter to me, right? Because I'm also like, I give respect and expect respect no matter who's in that room.
Oh, claro que sí.
And whoever what they did or they haven't done has no bearing. I mean, I could be a fan of someone's work, but like being impressed with like, oh, you're such and such. I mean, you know, I mean, there are some actors that I'm like, oh my God. And then you're just like, ah. But if I find out they're idiots, then they're like really talented idiots.
You know, and it happens. You know, I've met hundreds and hundreds of celebrities in this building. I don't feel like I've ever kind of like went up to anybody and be like, I'm a fan, I'm a fan. Who I love, John Leguizamo. Lo adoro.
Pero imagínate.
Lo adoro. Si yo lo veo a él, donde sea, a mí no me importa.
Right.
I'm like, dime que lo que. Like but he has that energy.
Right. He immediately is like, hey, yeah.
He gives it back to you, you know.
Sure.
He's definitely dope. We're overdue. We haven't sat down since Latin history for morons. Yeah, morons. And it was just. That show right there was amazing. Buena Vista Social Club. I'm so happy for him.
I know that he's a producer on that. I'm very happy for him.
I wanted to talk to him and they were like, he doesn't want to be the face of it. I'm like, come on. And I was like, you know what? Forget it. Don't worry about it. And I understand him. He wants, you know, the actors on stage to be the face of it. He doesn't want to take away from them. And I respected that so much. I was like, you know what? Él no quiere meterse aquí a dar brillo, you know, like yo soy el productor.
But maybe one day if it doesn't sell, he'll show up. Never know. If the sales start going down, he'll be like, honey.
After these 10 Tony nominations?
Well, you know, you never know. You never know, pero hopefully not.
No, claro que no. I just felt so emotional.
I know.
The music, it was just like, you know, and there was all the tourists and there was all the white people and they were so happy and they were clapping and it was just like, And I'm like, I just feel it like in a different way.
Of course.
Like I felt like crying while I was there. My husband felt like crying.
I absolutely understand that feeling of like, just like, it's such a deep, deep love and pride.
Right?
To so many parts of us. You're just like, I'm being seen, I'm being celebrated, my people, my history, my people's people.
It just felt so good.
Yeah.
I was just like, yo, I'm bugging out. Like I feel like crying right now. And
I get up really late that day. I would have probably been at home like till 3 a.m. alone.
Nah. It was just so I love theater. You started in theater?
I didn't. It's weird that I didn't start in theater because when I was going to college, I was also working full time.
This is when you were in Lehman College?
Yeah. I was working full time.
Where were you working?
Alone.
Where were you working? I need to know.
In restaurants, girl, on the Upper East Side. And so I was working at nights.
Okay.
And I was living alone. Mm-hmm. And so there was theaters at night. I was like, I can't afford to do theater. I need to make money.
Oh, no hay que trabajar.
Imagínate.
Un matinee nada más te tocaba.
I know. I would have been like, I could do Wednesday matinee.
I could do the 2 o'clock, right?
So it took a minute. Like by the time I did theater, my friends were like, people were like, you've never done theater? And then it was an off-Broadway thing.
Don't mind me. I feel like everyone starts in theater.
No, of course. Because it's crazy how much theater I've ultimately ended up doing. Yeah. I would have. And the only reason I didn't is because I couldn't afford. I didn't have a room. Couldn't afford. I was already out here being a grown.
You were in LES?
No, Upper East.
Okay. So había que pagar la renta, right?
Amén.
Mami papi.
My grandmother and my father raised me, and I lived
Puerto Rican.
Yeah, and my parents were divorced when I was about 3 or 4, and so it was my paternal grandmother, and so it was a fractured household. I had an older brother, and I started working at 13, hanging, clubbing. When people like,
what were your clubs? Talk to me. I'm a born and raised in New York. I'm gonna know what.
What were my clubs?
What you talking? Palladium or?
My clubs were 1018.
Okay.
What? Pew, pew, pew.
Limelight.
Broadway 96. No, girl.
No.
I didn't really like the limelight. I liked
Mucha locura, right?
No, I liked I used to go to I used to hang out with Rocksteady girl.
Oh, okay.
And
she's like, can you bring it back a little bit more?
I'm like, I'm bringing it real back.
She's like, you playing games with me.
I'm like, I was a child. My friends, where else did I go?
Claro que sí.
Broadway 96, the Roxy. Then when it became 1018, and then I got to go to Studio 54, old Studio 54 before it reopened.
Oh.
That's how young I was clubbing. Como una salvaje.
Pero
I got to go to the garage and to the loft because my brother's friends were so much older than me.
Oh, so yo te llevaban.
And I got to go to Danceteria because my brother.
Really?
Let me tell you what my brother did.
Dime a ver.
They used to give these passes out. Uh-huh. Like these passes that you like
una
with a stamp, like a VIP. And he was like so smart and criminal minded. He got a stamp made of the face. And then he got red and black, and he had these things laminated, and I had my own Danceteria pass. He gave it to like 3 or 4 people. What?
13 years old, talk about let me in.
I'd be like...
Con el pintalabios rojo, me imagino, right? To make believe we're old.
No, I was like punk rock.
Oh, you were
rock? Like what? I was like blue black hair.
No. Hold on.
I was like a dance, hip-hop, punk rocky girl.
How did this happen?
Because,
talk to me.
Yo no sé.
La música.
Because I was like, it was a little like Euro invasion.
What are we talking? Like the Doors,
my people.
In Excess? What are we talking?
Yes, all the things. Finding my people uptown, and there was more than one Elizabeth, so I became punk rock Liz.
Really?
Imagínate, there were 2 other Elizabeths, so they needed to differentiate them.
She's like, yo tengo mi nombre.
They gave it to me. They were like, you're punk rock Liz. I was like, fine.
I need to see pictures.
Oh my God.
You know
pictures.
What? I gotta confront you. You gotta have a Finsta. You gotta have a fake Instagram because that Instagram of yours is too light. I couldn't find nothing on there.
No, because I keep it light. Porque yo no quiero
Ahí no hay nada.
Porque yo no quiero lo que me queda de mi privacidad, Dios mío.
Eso es tuyo. I was like, ven acá, pero yo no encuentro nada aquí.
Yo no veo a la gente todos los días. Si no hay nada de decir, yo no voy a estar diciendo, mira lo que comí hoy. Oh, this is my water. Oh, today.
My new manicure.
Today. I really can't. People, I'm like, stop the madness. I add stuff in my story because
is that what it is?
In my story, I can be like a little clowny and I'll put some ridiculous stuff.
Me too. I post every day on my story. I could go 1-2 weeks without posting on my grid. Yeah. But I
go months without posting
I scrolled twice and I was in 2023. I said, wait, hold on.
Because I also was recently like, let me lighten it even more. Started taking things out from like Black Lives, real specific stuff. I was like, let me get rid of some of this. Everyday stuff and a lot of power stuff I took out because it was like tomorrow, next week.
Oh,
I was
the
like,
promo.
That has to go.
Oh no, of course, yeah. Later on, like I tell my DJ friends, like, can you archive all those flyers, please?
I know.
That party was flyers, 3 months ago,
and they're so busy.
It's
we gotta give a lesson on those flyers. I mean, like too much information.
Archive that.
Correct.
Power.
Correct.
Paz Valdez. Dime,
pregúntame.
The most feisty ass sister ever. Yo, you reminded me of my sister though, because my sister be trying to fight my husband.
Because let me tell you.
Dime.
Because Paz Valdez was put there so that she would represent everything the audience already knew.
She was a disruptor and a half.
Because my sister was like blind to it. And so she knew it before, and the audience knew it before Angela did. So that's why they put me there, to keep it real.
Did they bring you in after? They were like, let's bring her in? Or you were there the whole time?
No, I was there the whole time. I had actually, little known fact, auditioned for Angela in LA and met everyone and they were like, oh my God. And then I didn't get it. And then I was on Orange and doing other stuff. And then they asked me to come back in to audition for Paz, for her sister. And I was like, what do I have to audition again? They know me.
You know what's the vibes.
I was like, what else can I possibly do? And my manager had another client on the he was like, oh no, that's just what they're doing.
Okay.
They called my client in 3 times, just do it. And I showed up. And
you
I was
like, but está bien, no hay problema.
Yeah. So they brought me in to, make it real, to bring New York. And real New York too.
And bro, you really brought it.
Because I'm the only one that was from New York.
I remember my husband, he's like, yo, I can't stand the sister. Yo, I can't stand this. I said,
dame el teléfono de tu esposo.
Míralo ahí, no te apures.
Permiso, caballero, vamos para acá.
I said, why are you worried? Because she blowing up.
Why?
Because you're blowing up ghosts.
Because you were like hating that I knew and I was blowing up ghosts.
Exactly the vibes.
He was doing a whole bro thing is what was
Encojonadísimo estaba él contigo.
What? He was doing the whole bro thing.
Dice que la hermana sí jode.
La hermana was speaking truth.
Spilling facts,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. I had so much...
Ya di que Ghost was a good guy. Quítate de ahí, por favor. Eso era una pelea contigo en la televisión.
That's hilarious.
I used to be like, she's doing what she needs to do.
That is hilarious.
It's crazy how you have a character.
I had a lot of fun on that show.
I can imagine.
Because when I met Lila, Lauren, that played Angela, I had to show, I was going to Italy. I had to show up to take pictures, for props before I left. And we were like, she was like, hi. And like outside, and we were like, and she had spent some time in Italy. And she was like, oh my God. So we like talked about that. And then like, because it wasn't my show, like anytime I showed up, I was just a guest. So I wasn't caught up. No estaba cansada de la gente ni caught up in whatever. So it was always like a vacation. Like, hi! It was like a day that we would have the best time.
Me imagino.
And it was really great to see people and just like work with Lila and just have like it was usually like one day. And so it was like, when you're visiting, it's so different.
No, it is. That's like me. I don't come into the station every day. So when I come, yo no trabajo saludando gente.
Right.
So I know exactly, where you come.
Opposed to like 5 days a week, like I got nothing to talk to you about.
Ay, please, quítateme de al lado. Estoy trabajando.
Exactly.
Now, in Orange, I felt like you were so young to be Dasha's mom. But then,
I know, but you know how they do.
Then it made sense. It was like, maybe she was a teen mom. Is that what it was?
You know how they do with Latinas?
Te pusieron jovencita. Because I'm like, parecen hermana, no parecen de que mamá y hija. But I loved your character. You was a ball buster in that one too.
Like, that first season, people were like, I hate you. I was like...
Nah, you making sure what needs to be handled when you were like family meeting. I was like, your family meeting, y'all in jail.
It was so... I had fun in a different way with that show. At first, when I got that audition, I was like, I almost said no to it as well. Because I was like...
Did you feel...
I had just come out of like, it was a year after the Tony, like 2 years after the Tonys. I had just done a series called Prime Suspect that I played a detective, and I was like, I am not feeling myself. And I was like, I'm not trying to be
You felt like you were kind of like revert, you were going back.
Absolutely. I was like, I'm not
I feel
going to
you.
prison.
I feel you.
And then I was like, okay, the only reason I'm doing this is because it's some Netflix thing. No one's going to watch it. Ha.
Yeah, right. I'm rewatching it now.
And also I was like, everyone's in prison. I was like, whatever. And so then no one told any of us what it was going to be.
Okay.
And I was a recur, and then that thing blew up so much.
Oh,
and
my God.
When I got the script that I had like 3 children from 3 different baby daddies, I was beside myself.
You were like, ven acá.
Pero ven acá. Myself.
Y esto.
I know. De verdad.
But what the show did for Latinas.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Also,
Selenis, Dasha, like all of you guys. I was like.
But also for women, it was that same thing as the other day where like you don't even realize what's missing until you're like surrounded. And then you're like, oh, this is a real thing inside my soul that's missing. And because it had as many seasons as it had, that it was able to give stories and have the show brilliantly reflect on people's lives and give them like multi-dimensional 3D worlds, and thank goodness that I was able to get one too. At first you're like, what? But they were able to show and create real people and real human beings.
Yeah, and it's very important. I work with women in prison, making their transition. They're regular women. Like,
they're real human beings.
They're vilified and demonized, and they're regular ass moms and sisters and daughters.
Exactly.
And the way Orange let us see, the behind the scenes, and then it all makes sense.
Yeah, you really end up caring for them.
It's not that you're the bad person and that's why you're there. It's your circumstances.
And that's what we do as humans, I think. We initially all judge whether we want to or not. We have preconceived notions and biases. And then like the brilliance of that show was, And because it wasn't anything that was like, no one was killing people.
No. Yeah.
You know, they were like.
It wasn't Dexter.
Misdemeanor. Right. It was like you got to like judge them all and then really, really then through the years go back and care for those women.
Oh, no.
And really even feel for them, which is brilliant.
It is. Because then
I mean, you know.
Yeah, you did something, but I feel
for the show.
No, for sure.
And when I got out of prison, girl, that was the best because I was like, espérate. Because I would only work like one day also, an episode, and they let me come up with all the clowny stuff I wanted to.
I love that.
And they would just be like, kiki, and I would just be like, what?
They were like, do you?
I was like, what? It was just so much. I'd just be like coming up with this most ridiculous stuff because yo soy una mona. And they let me, and I was like, thank you so much.
Making my job easy.
What? When I got out of prison at the end, when I went back and the day I was getting out of prison and the guy that was directing that episode, I was like, when I was saying goodbye to Dasha Celeste, before I went back into prison, I was like, can I moonwalk out? And he was like, I was like, please.
Diga, dale, just do it.
Just fine.
Just do it.
Come on, that's ridiculous.
But it worked, you know, and it's you, and that's the type of
later moonwalking out of prison. Que
claro ridícula. Listen, if I was being let out of prison, I'd moonwalk out that bitch too.
Facts.
Now, you're such a creative. Allswell in New York. How did that come to be? Talk to me. I watched it. I felt it. I wanted more of it.
Oh, thank you.
I'm like, can't this be a series?
Right? So
No llore.
Right? Okay. So how did that come along? So this guy Ben Snyder, he is a writer in our theater company. He did a film a few years before called 11:55.
Okay.
And I was shooting Orange, and he had written this part that Victor was in. Victor Almazar. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, and other people we know. Dominic Colón had a little part.
Todo el mundo comió de esa película.
Sí, todo el mundo. And so Ben had asked me if I would do this part. He had written this part for me, and I was like, I read the script, and it was pretty good, and I was kind of impressed, and I was like, whether this film ever gets seen or not, the scene that they wrote for me, yo era una salvaje. Pero they made Aleida seem like a really grounded...
You were like, how did this happen?
Like Aleida was so like...
You were impressed with yourself?
Emotionally like aware compared to that other woman. And there was a scene in this barbershop where I just go off trying to take care of my... It's so good. And I was like, well, regardless, this is going to be a good scene, and I want the scene. And so we did it, and it was great. And, you know, David Zayas was also in it, and like it was a lot of fun, and it was like in the middle of me shooting, of course, a big episode. But I digress. When I saw the film, I was so impressed with, it was Victor's first film.
I remember
and I was like, I got you. You know,
Ay, qué
all
chulo.
the things.
I love that.
Yeah. And Shirley Ruminek was in it. She was beautiful. And Johnny Legs is in it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, no, esta misma noche. You mentioned too many of my faves.
Todo el mundo. Anyway, so when I finally saw it, I was so impressed with how what was cut out of it was cut out and how well it was handled in terms of what it needed and what it didn't.
The editing was top tier?
Yeah, in terms of like all of it, in terms of making it the best it could be. And for that to be the first film for somebody is huge because it's either like demasiado, too much writing, too many scenes, too much of this, not enough of that. Anywho, so he wanted to work with me, you know, and for years he was like, what do you want to do? You know, you want to do something like, do you want to do a play? Do you want to do a series? You want to do stuff about, you want to go back and do like, you know, hip hop stuff. And we would talk and we would get together and like, we wouldn't come up with stuff. We would just like end up talking about life and our families. And we realized that even though we came up so differently, he's younger and grew up in San Francisco. He's a Jewish kid, but super like into hip hop.
He's down.
And politically, all the things, like serving all the causes.
That's what's up.
Like, I was like, these are the people I want to work with in the lab. I was like, I want to work, you know, like, he was like, who do you want to work with? And I was like, I think that, I gave a list. There was a couple of other people in the list, and I was like, it'd be amazing if we did a film with Daphne and Liza. We're all playing sisters. And so then we just started gathering stories, and then it was really written so differently. He went to them and it was like, do you want to be part of this process? So we just gathered stories, whether it was stories about people we knew or people we had heard of, that people we could play around our age, whether we heard about these stories when we were young or now.
Wow, I love this.
And so it was a real profound process. And we gathered these stories. Ben created a outline, and then Ben and I started writing, and we just did this process, and this thing came together. And then the money showed up, and I was like, "Oh shit, is this really, really happening? Like, right now?" It was crazy, girl.
Which storyline was part of your real life?
Oh, I don't want to tell you.
You don't want to tell me?
I'll tell you off.
You'll tell me off? Okay.
I'll tell you after you see it.
I've been seeing it. What are you
No,
talking?
you didn't. Oh, right. Right. So there were stories.
There were different stories.
There were different. I'll tell you.
Is Connie related to you, or do you just have the same last name?
Not at all.
No?
Yeah. Like, it was incredible, the process of showing up with like the process of casting for me after doing this for so long, realizing on the other side, like, how much I always knew it wasn't about me, but how much, you know, you see so much talent, how much wasn't about me. And like realizing, like, from now on, I'm going to show up to auditions and just be like, listen, if it's not me, it's okay. Just tell me now. Don't waste my time. Vamos, sigue. God bless you. You know, but also like that whole process, the process of editing, I've never known something so deep.
So you were super hands-on.
Being. And like, I was there every day that I wasn't filming. When I was filming, I was just an actress. When I wasn't filming, I was like next to Ben, like.
You were the producer also.
And I was also like, there were times that we were both directing, you know, but I let him because I didn't want people to, you know, get confused. But it was extraordinary. So there was a lot of storylines that were part of my life. The storyline of our brother dying was a storyline that is very close to home with my father.
Okay.
And that ended up being real evocative when I was there the day that we were doing it. It's not necessarily it, but I was like all of a sudden having a moment like, oh, talking about blood. And I was just like, oh, I got to get out of here right now. I need to take a walk.
You're like, it's hitting too.
It was crazy. And also some of the storylines were not about her, but people in stories she knew that I used.
Yeah, she told me about.
Like that Liza's were ours and it were her stories of our family. And
it just felt so
real. And
it's
right because it was.
Daphne and I were talking, and she was kind of like a little bit like, you know, some people might have said it was a little too dark or whatever. I'm like, it wasn't at all.
But also,
it was perfect.
How about this? We thought we were writing. We set up to write a dramedy.
Well, I laughed a couple of times.
And then I was like, I guess we can. We got to get real. And there might be some laughter in between. But like nuancing even those scenes, you know, with Liza, when we find out, you know, in the hospital, like nuancing that scene so it could still be real and profound because I knew she would be able to, you know, I've known her forever. I know what she's done. I've done plays with her. Like, we know for years I've been like, girl, please. We know no. We know what we could do. You know what I mean?
And so, you guys, Allswell in New York, you guys totally killed it.
Thank you.
And if you're listening to this episode right now and want to watch this movie, Amazon Prime has it.
Yes.
So you can.
And getting Bobby Cannavale.
Amazing. He's hilarious.
Yeah,
Boardwalk
so
Empires,
much.
He was amazing in that.
And we did that play. Motherfucker, and Tony, when we did that play together.
Bring it back. Now I want to see it. How the hell did I miss this?
I don't even know. Yeah, we did that play together, so that was really amazing. And I got crazy love for him. And Max Casella is always incredible. Everybody in that film.
Everybody.
Like, we were so blessed. People gave us their apartments. Like,
it looked real as hell. It was
like the community that came together that I had no idea that we would be able to, as a group, get. It was bananas.
And it brings us right back to where we started.
Yeah.
Community, support, just being there for each other. And, you know,
It's amazing.
It is. And that project came out. Everything was so authentic. The storylines, the acting, everything.
Thank you.
If you're listening right now, make a little note on your phone. All's Well.
In New York.
On Amazon Prime.
Yes.
All's Well, one word. Because it was taking me forever. Because
Right.
I kept putting All Is Well. Right. I'm like, where is this movie? Now, Celebrity Charades. I saw that you just posted.
Yeah, they posted. Yeah.
They posted. You reposted.
Yeah, thank goodness they used
Talk to me.
a
good
Prince
picture?
song. A Prince song.
Oh, the song that they picked.
Oh, ma'am. I said I needed to say yes to that picture.
Okay, so you pre-approved that picture.
No, they like, I okayed it.
You look good. I was like, yes, that lipstick is good. Looking like Ruby Woo from MAC. So what goes down at Celebrity Charades? Because I saw it and I went on the website and I'm like, what are they going to do on that day?
So,
and where?
We've been around forever as a theater company, and it is real hard, especially post-COVID, to get anything produced. It usually takes 2 or 3 collaborations with more than one theater company to try to get things produced.
Okay.
Usually at a loss for money. We get some grants. We do all this stuff with education, but to create and produce a night to try to raise funds, it's always like so much money. They did a huge article on like, is it worth doing these events and do you make your money back? And it's basically to try to raise money. And so you literally play charades. You got 4 teams, and I hate it. I hate it. I do it because I don't like being unprepared. And like, you cannot be more unprepared than charades.
You have no control with charades.
Woo, child. And we show up and we are like so competitive. We'd be like, what is it?
So we all need to be there. We need to buy our tickets.
It's so much fun. Ben Stiller is going to show up.
Oh, get out. I'm sold. Oh, ya voy para allá.
Ben Stiller just said yes. Daphne Rubin-Vega's on board. Liza Colón-Zayas is going to announce an award. David Zayas is going to play. You know, I'm hoping to get a couple of more, like, you know, we're hoping to get some other people. Ethan Hawke. I'm hoping.
Listen, this is already a solid lineup.
It's amazing. It's a lot of fun.
And you know what?
If you can't get a table seat, you can get like a bar hangout and you can be in it. It's like a couple of hours.
Yo voy para
drinks.
allá. Yo voy para allá. And you're listening to the podcast. In the podcast description, I'm going to put a link so that you can get tickets.
That's amazing.
And you know what? If you're watching right now on YouTube, right down there's going to be a link also so that you can get these tickets.
It's Edison Ballroom. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. We'll be up there clowning. Di que tirándote en el piso. You just be doing all of it. We're going to be like, sounds like.
We're going to pull up and we're going to have a good time.
And the money is for the theater company. You know, we try to raise money so that we can continue the education, which is getting brown people, all kind of people to be able to come in and learn about theater, write their own stories so they could create their own labyrinth and have their own voices and empowerment.
And that's what we're going to do, man. We're going to support, you know, Celebrity Charades.
20 plus years, that is crazy that we still around. We almost died a few times.
And listen, we're all so proud of you, you know, the entire crew, Labyrinth Theater. The way that you guys are putting Latinos a lo alto is just, you know, it's something that we thank you for. And, you know, I thank you for sitting down with me today, man. You're dope. Keep doing what you're doing. And gracias. Come again.
Yes.